Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's episode of Agenda. It's March 11, 2022, and we welcome you and ask you to join us. Thank you for being subscribers of Cignal TV and viewers of One News PH on channels 8 and 250. You can also continue watching via YouTube and on Facebook. Just enter One News PH and Agenda. And we hope that you would also download the Cignal Play app so you can watch Cignal TV programs on the go. And today, just so you know, today is lecture day. I think I should really structure this because today we are going to be interviewing a very young entrepreneur, if I may call him that, but who is very knowledgeable about cryptocurrency and bitcoins. Ano ba yan? Hindi po ba? No? I myself confess complete ignorance and rejection of cryptocurrency and bitcoin because that is human nature. If you don't know anything, plus pag sinabi kasing crypto, medyo crypt, di ba? Parang sa libingan. So I'm kind of freaked out by that term. But today, we will endeavor to learn, to understand what Bitcoin is, what cryptocurrency is when we interview our guest, none other than Nichel, Gaba of the Philippine Digital Asset Exchange. But before that, we will be joined by our former in-house legal advisor, our go-to lawyer, professor, dean of law, who will now take a new role. Kumbaga, dati kakampi natin siya. I hope to God hindi natin siya magiging kaaway or kakontrabida. We will be interviewing the new, freshly minted Comelec Commissioner George Garcia here on the program, and we will address that quickly. But before that, let's go to our daily starter for today from American author Brian Herbert. And Mr. Herbert is quoted as saying, "The capacity to learn is a gift. Ang kakayanang matuto ay regalo. The ability to learn is a skill. Ang abilidad na matuto ay talino o galing. The willingness to learn is a choice." Yung kusang loob o bukas pusong matuto ay pili nyo, desisyon ninyo. So, anyway, the capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. That's our daily starter. And I hope that you would constantly remind yourself of the fact that many people do not have the capacity to learn because of a mental, physical, or financial handicap. There are many who do not have the ability to, who do not have the skill kasi talagang mahina ang kanilang kaisipan, mapurol, at marami rin. The willingness is a choice. Many people don't have that choice. So please think about that. Always be willing to learn as we are today, because we want to learn whether it's about the Comelec, it's about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or any subject matter. That is the core of agenda, not a political, financial, or business agenda, but to learn. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And today, March 11, it's a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's a weekend again. Let's go to the front page, March 11, 2022. The headline, DBM releases 3 billion for fuel subsidies. The Department of Budget released 3 billion, part of which will go to the Department of Transportation, the LTFRB, and the Department of Agriculture, all of which are going to release the funds based on their current systems of ayuda. At the top of the front page, the Philippines ready to back US if embroiled in war. Okay, Philippine ambassador to the United States, Babes Romualdez, has stated that President Duterte signified or expressed willingness for the Philippines to host U.S. forces in the event that the Russian invasion in Ukraine turns into a full war and it spreads out to the Asian region. Kumbaga, we are willing to make available Clark and Subic once again. Meanwhile, sardine makers want price hike. Okay? Yung pong mga manufacturers of sardines in the Philippines or the Canned Sardines Association of the Philippines is asking for the DTI to allow them to increase prices because they have been victim to that situation during COVID where they were not allowed and they don't want the same problem to happen again. Meanwhile, new Comelec chief inhibits from BBM cases. Alam niyo, bakit chief? No? Kasi hindi tayo sure. Sino ba talaga yung chief among the Indians at the Comelec? But in this news, Commissioner George Garcia has notified the poll body that he is formally withdrawing from participating in all pending cases filed against presidential candidate Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos. Ayan po, no? So kumbaga, no, excuse muna siya because there would be conflict of interest. Meantime, government eyes alert level 1 for the entire country. The Department of Health Secretary Francisco Duque has expressed his vision or desire for the entire country to be placed on alert level 1 subject to 4 requirements per area. Yun po yung mga hospital, yung mga number of cases, hospital utilization and vaccination, and also number or percentage of senior citizens vaccinated. That's where the rubber meets the road because bagamat maganda yung statement ni Secretary Duque, the question is who is in charge of those targets and programs in the various provinces. Kasi sa Batangas po, yan na po yung dinadaing ng mga iba. Puro na lang restriction, puro na lang bawal, pero pag tinanong mo who is in charge of making sure that those requirements are met, you don't get an answer. Okay, yun po. So anyway, Google launches poll trends tool. Ito, liwanagin natin. Google came out with a tool that measures how many people go to their site to check or ask questions or inquire regarding the top candidates, particularly for the presidential and vice presidential campaign now or candidacy. And as a result, lumalabas po, it turns out that Vice President Leni Robredo and Mayor Sara Duterte are the top 2 names that are entered into the Google search engine. Kumbaga, maraming interesado, maraming gustong magtanong o malaman tungkol kay VP Leni at Mayor Sara. Yun po, it is not a survey, it is not a measure of who is leading, it is a measure of people's interest and desire to learn. Okay. In the meantime, Senator Ping Lacson plans gradual but sure pay hike for nurses and teachers. Okay, presidential candidate Panfilo Lacson said that he is willing to increase the salaries of nurses and teachers if he becomes president, but this would have to be done slowly but surely. Hindi raw po pwedeng biglayin dahil baka mabangkarote ang gobyerno. Meanwhile, that photo at the bottom left of the Philippine Star, sales assistants try out various electric scooter models at the shop in Quezon City on Wednesday. It seems that parami ang nagkaka-interest sa electric scooters because of the rocketing price of fuel. And a little bad news or cause for concern, if you are a Converge internet subscribers, baka lang daw, okay, na-compromised by a data breach. Converge app hit by a data breach, although Converge management said it is very limited. Kumbaga, yung nakuwang impormasyon o yung nabuta sa kanila ay napakaliit at basic yung information. Parang name and address ang yata yung nakuha nila. Okay. That photograph, that photo, in meantime, on the right lower part of the Philippine Star, you have Ukrainian emergency employees and volunteers carrying an injured pregnant woman from a maternity hospital that was damaged by shelling in Mariupol, Ukraine last Wednesday. Okay. Meanwhile, the bottom last news, MSME, micro, small, medium enterprise pandemic loan funds fully utilized as of end of 2021. Kumbaga, yung budget na binigay ng DBM for 2021 for micro, small, medium enterprises na pautang via the SB Corporation, ayun po ay medyo naubos na. Hindi po nilaspag, hindi po winaldas. Kumbaga ay napautang na sa lahat ng interesadong umutang. Okay, so there you go. That's the front page of the Philippine Star. I do hope some of you learned something new. And let's now go to our first guest. Of course, many of you, particularly those who watch Agenda, know that he is our pro bono in-house counsel and professor and dean of law. Actually, of course, he used to be dean of law of the Pamantasan, if I'm not mistaken, ng lungsod ng Maynila, an accomplished election lawyer. Pero ngayon po, I have to be polite because he is now Commissioner of the Comelec. Okay, none other than Commissioner George Garcia. Magandang umaga po, sir.
Sir Cito, Attorney George lang po, magandang umaga po. Magandang umaga po sa lahat ng laging nakatutok sa atin, nakikinig at nanonood. Morning.
Alam mo, ako lang siguro sa mga kaibigan mo nalungkot na tinanggap kami ni Attorney George yung position. Sir, if you don't mind, what happened? Because last I talked to you, last time I spoke with you, we were talking about violations of the antitrust law. That was a business question, and next thing I know, you're at the Comelec being sworn in.
Opo, Sir Cito, talaga pong hindi ko rin po inaasahan itong mga pangyayaring ito. Sa totoo lang po, napakalaki rin po talagang sakripisyo, pero yun naman po ay cargo ko, yun naman po ay personal na decision ko, yung pagtanggap ng appointment na ito, dahil siguro, siyempre po, isasaraduhan ko yung aking opisina. Pagkatapos po, lahat po ng kliyente ko, magwi-withdraw po ako. But then, alam niyo po, napaka-crucial po itong halalan na ito. Yung 2022, sabi ko nga, kung after nitong election na ito, maging successful, pwede naman po akong bumalik na muli sa practice. Pwede naman naman pong walis na muli ako dito sa Commission on Election, makatulong lang po na maiayos natin ang Comelec kasi nga po siyempre napakadaming nababalitaan, napakadaming misunderstanding, mistrust, disinformation. Siguro po on my own small ways, konti kong kaalaman po sa pagkukondak ng halalan, makapagbigay naman po ako, makapag-ambag sa ikabubuti po ng ating bayan, sir.
Well, I admire your sense of patriotism and service because, to be honest, when I was asked to be the moderator of one of the upcoming Comelec debates, dumistansya ako. Ay sabi ko, Boss James, sorry na lang, ayokong madamay sa sabunutan o baka makasuntok pa ako dyan ng pilosopo. I'm just being totally honest because, you're right. The Comelec has been embroiled in so many things. But first of all, and I hope, sorry, attorney or commissioner, you are now on the opposite side of the fence, so you will now have to be respondent to me. Ika nga
Yes,
nila,
sir.
no? Pinatatawa ko na lang kayo, no? Kasi, but seriously, in all seriousness, did you aspire for this? Did you in one way or another, kumbaga natanong ka ba, Attorney George, payag ka ba? Kasi butas na butas sa Comelec, kailangan namin ng nakakaintindi at nung bata-bata pa. Now, did you aspire, work your way through this? What were the circumstances?
Yes, sir. No application at all. Yun nga lang po, bigla lang po ako nakatanggap ng tawag mula po sa ating palasyo. At ako daw po ay na-consider bilang Comelec Commissioner. So nagulat po ako. Sinasabi nila ito yung highest aspiration ng isang election lawyer. Maari hindi rin po dahil kung tutuusin po, napakaganda naman, Sir Cito, ng aking pong practice.
Mm-hmm.
At more or less naman na tayo yung pinapagkakatiwalaan ng iba't ibang kandidato. Napakadami pong consequences at napakadami pong mga maaaring mangyari ng pagtanggap ko ng appointment.
Okay.
So hindi po completely, wala po akong ini-expect na ganun po.
Kumbaga, no aspiration, no machination, etc. Ang tanong ko, I hope I'm not crossing or stepping on anything here, no? Pero I'm presuming you're married, you have family, or your parents, whoever the authority is in your life. Ikaw ba, pinagpaalam mo yan at pumayag ba yung mga mahal mo sa buhay? Kasi ako, I always ask my wife. Now, what about you?
Parehas po tayo, Sir Cito. Siyempre po sila ang Commander-in-Chief. Sila po ang may final decision sa lahat. Tayo po ay tagasunod lamang. Siyempre po, ang isa pong katulad natin na mga asawang lalaki, tayo po ay kinakailangan laging magko-consult sa ating mga kapiyak at sa ating family kasi ang ganitong desisyon hindi po ito basta-basta lamang na desisyon. Siya po kasi ay nasa pamahalaan din, nasa Senado rin po ang aking pong misis and therefore naiintindihan naman po niya lahat ito. And alam niyo po kasi tuwing umaga rin, parang kayo din po, habang kayo nag-aagahan pag-uusapan niyo ang mga nangyayari, ang politika, ang nangyayari sa ating bansa, yung mga problemang ganito, bakit hindi gawin ng ganyan, hindi gawin ng ganito. So siguro po dahil nagsama-sama yung lahat na yan, sabi ko, siguro yung mga tinatanong niya, baka masusolusyonan lang kahit na mag-isa lang muna ako doon sa kadamihan na yung lahat ng mga pinag-uusapan namin.
So naintindihan ni Mrs. pero hindi ba siya nagsabi, George? Medyo government employee na ako, mag-government employee ka pa, baka yung kinakain mong steak kagabi, bukas karne norte ka na lang o kaya magdadaing tayo.
Sabi po niya, mukhang maghihirap na po tayo. Sabi ko, ganoon talaga, lahat ng nasa gobyerno, kung ikaw yung magpapakatino, yan naman po yung hindi pagpapayaman, hindi ka dapat magpapayaman sa gobyerno. Dapat yan, serbisyo. Ibig sabihin, sacrifice. Nanay at tatay ko po kasi parehas na galing din sa gobyerno, isang sundalo at isang public school teacher. So ako po naman ay lumaki na napalaki kami kahit na kami mahirap sa mga kinikita nila mula sa ating pamahalaan sa talagang pagsisilbi sa bayan.
I want to be fair with you, Attorney George or Commissioner Garcia, no? Kasi baka hindi naintindihan ng maraming tao, Attorney George Garcia, the lawyer, is giving up financially. Kasi marami ka agad bumanat sa'yo. Nako, abogado yan ni Bongit. Nako, abogado yan ni ganito. Nako, magkakaproblema. Pero yung what are you giving up in terms of income? Kaya wag mo na sabihin yung halaga, no? Pero kung magpe-percentile evaluation lang tayo, gaano ilang percent ng current income mo, dahil nagbabayad ka naman ng income tax, ang mawawala because of this decision to accept the position and serve the nation?
Napakaliit po ng kita sa pamahalaan. Alam niyo naman po, yung presidente nga ng Pilipinas, halos 300,000 lang. How much more yung isang commissioner lamang. So napakaliit po kukumpara sa in terms of kung kinikita lamang po. At siyempre may mga staff din po ako na pinapasweldo, may mga gastos yung opisina, and therefore po, i-approximate nyo na lang po. Ganon din po kalaki. But Sir Cito, ano po, after 22, 23 years in the practice, ano na po, siguro na pag-iisipan ko na rin, medyo ikaw ay nagkakaedad-edad na rin, magkaroon ka lang ng opportunity makapag-serve. After nun, pwede naman po mag-private practice muli. Pwede muli sa privado. At least, nasabi ko na kahit paano, meron naman po ako nailaan sa buhay ko na paglilingkod sa ating pamahalaan on my own small way po.
Okay, so there's a final... Pero becoming a commissioner of the Comelec, you had to give up all of your election-related clientele. Tapos may mga kaso raw sa Supreme Court that you had to ask that you be relieved of duty, etc. Paano ba yan? Pag commissioner ka na, ano yung mga hindi mo na pwede? Hindi ka pa rin pwede, sir, magtanggap ng mga, kumbaga, mga consultancy. Kasi I know there are law offices na lahat sila meron parang, he is on consultancy or whatever.
Opo, you have to divest all your at least interest, lalong-lalo na kung ito po ay isang law office at lalong-lalo na kung ito naman ay nag-involve mismo doon sa practice, doon sa mismong opisina na ikaw ay malalagay. My case po, for the last 2 days, Sir Cito, naku po, ang aming opisina ay nagpa-file, gumagawa ng lahat ng motion to withdraw in cases doon po sa lahat mula sa Comelec na medyo pagkadami-dami sa Electoral Tribunal, lalo-lalo sa House of Representatives Electoral Tribunal at medyo madami rin po sa Supreme Court. So yun po ang ginagawa. At the same time po gusto ko rin po i-announce sa pamamagitan po ng inyong programa that yesterday and the other day po I officially wrote a letter to the Clerk of Court of the Comelec, tama po yung Philippine Star, na I withdrew in all my participation in all the cases that I handled, and definitely po sa mga kaso pa in the future na maaari naging kliyente ko in the past, I will definitely withdraw. And likewise, I withdrew my participation in the case in cases involving former Senator Bongbong Marcos and such other cases in the future na maaari ma-involve po siya as a respondent or as a party.
Okay, forgive my ignorance and I'm innocently asking this Commissioner Garcia or Attorney George. Ano pang matitirang trabaho sa'yo? Because you are one of the most sought after election lawyer by all these politicians. Ano pang magiging trabaho? Kasi pag si congressman ganito, o si mayor ganito, o si senator, hindi, dati kong kliyente, you'll have to keep saying no. You can't even discuss or talk to the other commissioners because it would be construed as conflict.
Yes, sir. Opo.
Now, anong matitirang trabaho para sa'yo?
Alam niyo po, Sir Cito, dapat maintindihan po ng mga kababayan natin, and this is very crucial. This statement is very, very crucial. Alam niyo po, ang trabaho ng Comelec, 85% po is administrative, 15% lang po ang cases. Ano po ibig ko sabihin? Nakatutok po ang lahat ng sambayanan doon sa mga kaso ni ganito, kaso ni ganyan, bakit mabagal, naku, bakit mali ang desisyon. Pero bakit wala po nagtatanong, prepared na po ba tayo sa halalan? Kumpleto na po ba ang machine natin? Baka paano po pag nagkaroon ng brownout sa araw ng eleksyon at pagka tayo nagbibilang na at nagka-canvas, na i-deliver na ba yan o paano ang delivery? Paano yung logistics requirement po ng ating pong eleksyon? Ang mga teachers po, handa na po ba? Na-train na po ba yung mga teachers sa mga makabagong mga rules and regulation? Doon nga lang po sa pag-i-implement ng mga oplang baklas, nagkakaproblema na eh. So ibig ko sabihin, siguro po dapat yung isang katulad ko, hindi lang yung knowledge ng batas o yung mismong kaalaman sa pagde-defend, prosecute ng isang kaso, kung hindi kinakailangan ay magtutok doon sa yung administrative skills, how to manage people, how to make people move, and at the same time, how to ensure na we are so prepared, planned ahead of time yung ating pong gagawin. Doon po ang tutok natin.
But Commissioner, I think the presumption is, ang iniisip ng karamihang mamamayan, alam nyo na yan. alam na yan ng Comelec, hindi na natin dapat pag-abalahan yan o pagdudaan yan. Kasi hello naman, kung 50 years lang yung Republika or mahigit, or 100 years man, matagal na yung Comelec at alam na nila based on experience. Now, but having said that, is it really a question of the public not knowing what to focus on? Or is it because, and this is a classic example, our conversation this morning, you are a Comelec commissioner who is actually engaging the media. It is rare, except in the case of Rowena Guanzon and one or two other 20 years ago, it is rare to be able to reach out and speak with commissioners in this very open manner. Now, is it because of that attitude? And should that attitude now be changed because people like George Garcia, who is comfortable with the media, is in the Comelec?
I had been seeing a great disconnect, Sir Cito, between the electorate and with all due respect ngayon sa ating commissioner election, hindi na-explain mabuti sa ating mga mamamayan, hindi nakaka-schedule yung informasyon, na sila tuloy ay umaasa sa mga misinformation, sa mga fake news. Hindi po dapat na ganoon. Kung merong kauna-unahang i-inform, mag-educate sa ating mga mamamayan, ito po dapat ang commissioner election.
Although, allow me to point out, Commissioner Garcia, that I salute Comelec spokesperson James Jimenez, because he has always been professional, has been accessible, and has always done a good job. Kanya nga lang, pag spokesperson ka, limitado at siyempre yung credibility of a commissioner speaking on a particular issue is different from listening or engaging a spokesperson. But please continue kasi ayoko naman sabihan ako ni James, kuyang naman, ba't ako nalaglag?
Hindi po ako, pinupuri ko nga po si Director James, isa sa pinakamasipag sa commission election. Pero alam niyo po, Sir Cito, bawat election kasi is always a continuing a progress of preparation, etc. Kasi nga po, bawat election ay may kanya-kanyang kakaiba ng mga circumstances. For example, this election, we will be conducting for the first time under a pandemic situation. Isipin niyo po yung sitwasyon natin, kahit mag-level 1 ka. Ngayon, level 1. Paano po kung dumating ang election? Presumption lang po. Biglang nag-level 3 na naman. Ano po mangyayari sa atin? So, at the same time, may mga lugar po tayo, we will be conducting absentee voting, lalo na overseas. May mga lugar po na may mga conflict na areas. So, paano natin i-conduct yung mga election?
Mahigit pa doon sa, wag na tayong pumunta doon sa conflict area, Commissioner Garcia. Yun nga lang mga ating mga tripulante, yung our seafarers have already through representations expressed or pointed out the fact bakit kaming mga nasa dagat hindi kami kasama doon sa absentee or advance voting kasi malaking grupo sila pero walang access dahil nasa dagat daw sila and medyo masama ang loob.
Tama po. Kaya nga po, talagang after this election din, at siguro po mas magandang ako po maghihingi muli sa inyo ng pahintulot in another interview po sa mga susunod na dapat din pagtuunan din yung batas na mag-aalaw po ng, for example, internet voting. Wala pa po tayo sa kasalukuyan ng internet voting. Sa abroad po, katulad sa US, meron po sila. Kasi nga po, yung isa pong seafarer natin, nasa barko siya, paano siya makakaboto? Gustong-gusto niya po makaboto. That is disenfranchisement, technically. Kaya lang, hindi, sa atin nga po, either manual ka o pumunta ka sa embassy o sa konsulada para doon ka bumoto. So, yan po ay mga limitations na pwede naman sanang maialaw. Lalong-lalo na kung mayroon pong batas. Ang Comelec po, hindi naman po siya tagagawa ng batas, tagapagpatupad lang siya ng batas. Second po, Sir Cito, at ito po, applicable sa inyo. Ako po, noong ako'y nagpa-practice pa, like kung sinasabi ang advocacy ko, kinakailangan ng senior citizen ay early voting din. Early voting for senior citizen kahit 1 week ahead. Bakit? Yung pong senior citizen, di ba? Tataas ka pa sa second floor, third floor. Kasabay pa nung napakadaming nakapila, init ng araw sa Mayo. At katulad na rin po ang PWDs, dapat po early voting.
Tama ka dyan, Commissioner. Kasi nung nagla-lockdown, lagi kaming kinukulong dahil kinaalagaan daw ng Estado that the state is protecting our health and our lives. But during the election, sige, go ahead. go and bahala ka sa buhay mo. So you're very correct there. But Attorney George, as you know, medyo limitado ang oras natin on the program. I have 5 minutes left with you. But first of all, as an insider and as an outsider, former outsider and now an insider, are you confident that we are going to be able to host this election in May in a relatively organized, peaceful, and question doubt-free manner?
Because of the expertise of the people in the Commission on Elections, kakilala ko naman po lahat halos na ng mga heads diyan at saka yung credibility din, mga sabi niyo nga po natin yung mga tinubuan na diyan na po nainugatan sa Commission on Election. They will not risk their integrity. Consistent naman po 'yan. At the same time, siguro po kung medyo may nagpapasto lamang, naggagad, nagse-shepherd na mga pinuno at magsasabi ito ang dapat gawin, ito yung teka muna, ganyan, mayroong maghahambalos na, teka muna, bakit ito ang ginagawa natin? Magko-correct. So siguro naman po ay ako, ang paniniwala ko, tumataas at tumataas yung posibilidad na ito ay isang napakamaayos na halalan. Kaya lang po, hindi ang isang halalan ay hindi lang po commission election, napakadami pong mga components, kinakailangan yung mga stakeholders, nandiyan yung citizens arm, nandiyan yung ating po mga mamamay electorate. At the same time, ang media, napaka-importante ma-convey ano ang tunay na nangyari. At the same time, katulad niyo po Sir Cito, abay kinakailangan kayo po'y maghahambalos sa amin, ipo-point out niyo po sa akin lagi, Attorney George, bakit ganito? Abay paliwanag mo nga bakit nagkaganyan. Hindi pa pwedeng basta lang kayo nag-implement, walang paliwanagan. Hindi pa pwedeng ganon. Kinakailangan, we must have an informed citizenry. Yun po ang aking iniinsist kahit kahapon sa briefing sa Comelec. We have to inform the people. There should be great and complete transparency in all our actions. Walang ililihim, walang itatago. Lahat ay alam ng mamamayan.
Baka kailangan magbigay tayo ng media training dyan sa tropa mo, Commissioner George, kahit na libre kasi nako po, talagang kailangan ng mamamayan maintindihan ng Comelec. Kahit tama, kahit mali, kahit popular o hindi, basta sinabi at binigay, hindi na mapapagdudaan. But alam mo naman, Attorney George, ako ay mahal ko yung mga guro kasi nabigyan ko na rin ng mga training at mga seminar ang ating mga guro for the elections in the past years before COVID. And mukhang may gulo ngayon or hindi naman gulo, pero may tampo yung ilang teachers groups. At pati pangalan mo nadamay na kasi yung bangsa allowance, sabi nung isang teachers group, bakit ganon? Kami 2,000, yung iba dyan 4,000, yung mga tiga Comelec 5,000, 6,000 ang allowance para sa election day. Bakit naman tapos binigyan pa ng 20% tax? Nilagyan pa ng tax yung ba't naman ganun, Commissioner George?
Kahapon po yan po ay isa sa mga natalakay. Ako mismo tinalakay ko rin po yan. At yung po sa panayam ko, sinabi ko po I will support any initiative na tanggalin po yung 20% na income tax para po, yung 20% tax para po sa mga, yung bibigay po na honoraria lang po yun ng ating mga guro. In fact po, ininsist ko rin kahapon sa amin pong pagpapabriefing sa mga senior department heads ng Comelec na hindi lang po, sir, tanggalin yung 20%. Pero hindi po kasi kami yun po ay sa BIR at sa ating po sana Kongreso para pong mali yung pagtahol sa amin. Pero at least alam namin para kami we can make representation with BIR. We can request them. Baka naman pwedeng i-consider nyo, tanggalin naman. Kawawa naman, kikita ka ng 8,000, 10,000 Pagkatapos babawasan mo pa ng 20%. Pero hindi po yun ang isang crucial na palagi ko hindi nila napapansin. Dapat on time yung pagbibigay sa kanila nung mga honoraria na yan. Sapagkat in the past po, meron ba namang 2 buwan na wala pa sa kanila honoraria? Meron pang 3 buwan na wala pa sa kanila honoraria.
Hindi ba pwedeng ibigay in advance kasi whether they like it or not, they have to be present on election day. Bakit hindi pa ipauna? Ito na yung allowance nyo. Kasi yung allowance ay dapat para sa gastusin mo nung araw na yon, hindi 2 months after.
Mahirap din po Sir Cito kasi ang dami ko rin po naranasan dati na yung teachers mismo ay hindi halimbawa 3 po silang miyembro, hindi uma-attend, hindi pumupunta po kung anong kadahilanan, either nakausap ng politiko na hindi na pumunta doon para lamang magkaroon ng failure of election doon, nakapagbayad ka na po. So makakasuhan pa po yung nagbayad doon. So talaga po ang dapat lang dyan, na-deliver na yung result, na-deliver na yung mismong resulta sa presinto, dapat bayad na kaagad.
Sino ba magbabayad nun? Si Mayor?
Hindi po. Wala po. Yan po ay ang Comelec in cooperation with our DepEd officials po.
Ayun. Okay. Tututukan natin yan, Commissioner George Garcia, and I sincerely pray that the Lord will protect you, will provide for your family in the face of the financial sacrifice you have taken upon yourself in accepting this job, and may He give you wisdom and the courage to stand up for what is right inside the Comelec, so that the Comelec can become the symbol of honesty and order in the elections. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Very much, Sir Cito. Maraming salamat po. Pagpalain po kayo.
Yan po si Comelec Commissioner George Garcia. Masasabi ko, for once, meron akong friendship sa loob ng Comelec. Pero we never abuse friendships, okay? Anyway, let's go for a quick break. And when we come back, let's talk about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Ano ga yan? Okay, here on Agenda. Okay, welcome to the program Agenda. Welcome back. And at this point, we bring in the next topic, cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Ano nga ba yan? Many people have read about cryptocurrency kasi po yung mga na-scam, many victims of phishing scams, lalo na with the banks online, heard about cryptocurrency because their money disappeared and took the form of a cryptocurrency into the dark web. Sabi ko, ano na ba yan? So we invited the founder and CEO of Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, okay? And his name is, he's a young guy, Nichel Gaba. Nichel, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Cito. Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. Nichel, I give you the floor. Mag-lecture ka na nga kasi wala talaga akong alam. Ano ba yung cryptocurrency? Ano ba yung Bitcoin na yan? Why should Filipinos know? What should Filipinos know about it and why?
You know, Cito, these are very pertinent questions, no? And I'm glad that we're talking about it here. As a communications expert, I'm sure you can also appreciate this problem that crypto or Bitcoin has faced from the very beginning. No? I would say na much of the reason why it's so confusing or it's so cryptic is because it has not had a good communication strategy from the beginning. Now, let me start with Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin was invented in 2008. Okay, and it was invented coming out of the 2008 global financial crisis, when you had a lot of these banks, no, that were deemed quote unquote too big to fail.
Mhm.
So there was a programmer or a group of programmers called Satoshi Nakamoto, who invented a way in which we can have electronic money that does not concentrate power in institutions. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, kasi why did J.P. Morgan, why did Morgan Stanley, why did Goldman Sachs, why did they become so big? Well, that's because we use them so much in the in our economic systems.
Mhm.
And until today, no, lahat ng electronic data that we use, whether it's in banking or it's in social media, they're concentrated in institutions. Um, an electronic money that we have today, for example, is Gcash. Well, Gcash is also an institution. So if you have bad actors in Gcash, then you could also suffer similar failures. No,
Mhm.
now Bitcoin is the one invention or the first invention that doesn't have any of these problems, and that's because Bitcoin is a computer program that's open source, that's publicly accessible, and it has very strict rules. Okay? Uh, ano yung mga rules na yon? Mga rules na yon ay tulad ng there can only be 21 million bitcoins ever created. Right? That's one important rule. Another rule is that when you have a Bitcoin wallet, you can use your private key, kunwari parang password, right, to transmit Bitcoin to another wallet. And all of these things, no, all of these transactions are administered by a program that cannot be controlled by any one person. So that's essentially what Bitcoin is. But today, a lot of people have quote unquote copied that same program, no,
Mhm.
to create all kinds of other currencies. And dito na pumapasok yung mga, uy, ano ba tong binili ko na XYZ coin? Wala naman yatang halaga ito. So that's kind of where we are today.
Okay, now so that's the history of Bitcoin. But what is the legal tender? Kumbaga, pasensya ka na anak, ano? Ako kasi I'm from a generation where it's not money if I don't hold it. It is not money if it is not, it does not indicate it is legal
Yep.
tender, and it is not backed by the central bank of whatever nation. In Bitcoin,
Mm.
how do I even have the Bitcoin currency? Paano ka magkakaroon ng currency?
These are all very good questions. Look, so under the law, legal tender, what does legal tender mean? It means na if it's presented to you, no, to fulfill
Mm.
an obligation, whether you're buying a donut or you're paying a loan, it should
Mhm.
be accepted. That's what legal tender means. Um, but even though certain items are not legal tender, it doesn't mean that we cannot accept them as a medium of exchange. No? Sometimes we accept NBA cards. Sometimes we accept favors. Sometimes we accept handwritten IOUs from friends, no, to settle an obligation. And I think the only important thing or the only unique thing about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies is that they are available right now, no, pretty much everywhere. To your question, how do you even take part or how do you acquire these cryptocurrencies?
Mhm.
One thing you can do is you can sign up for an exchange. No, an exchange is an institution, just like my company, PDAX. We will open accounts for you, similar to opening a bank account. Parehong proseso po yan.
Mhm.
And parehong safeguards po ang nakalagay dyan, and you can put in your cash and then you will receive cryptocurrencies. So now you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies freely, and you can transfer them using your wallet, which can be on your phone.
Mhm. I know that in Europe they have essentially uh, gone from cash
Mhm.
to credit card to debit card and almost electronic na sila ngayon because my wife was complaining that she had cash with her but everybody was asking for this electronic form of payment. Now Bitcoin, so I go to your company, transfer money there. Now, how useful is Bitcoin? Because GCash, PayMaya, particularly, I mean, I can use as long as I have a mobile phone and I know the codes, I can transact with anyone. But with Bitcoin, ano ba yan? Para ba yan sa mga batang katulad nyo?
Hindi naman, no? I think it's for all ages and sizes. So now, no, when it first started, no, this is why I keep saying it's a communications problem. When Bitcoin first started, people were saying na, oh, it's the new form of money na, people will spend Bitcoin and, send Bitcoin to one another. Kaya lang, there are weaknesses to Bitcoin. No? One weakness is that it's very slow. Okay. So
Mhm.
today, the biggest users of, I would not say Bitcoin lang, no, but cryptocurrencies, the biggest users of cryptocurrencies for transactions are actually companies or institutions remitting money around the world using cryptocurrencies. Because if they remit through the global FX markets, it would take them 2 or 3 days to get the payment to the other side. Pero with cryptocurrencies, it can happen, in a matter of minutes. So as a medium of exchange, no, probably it's not yet superior to credit cards, to cash. But as you know, Sito, technology continues to evolve. So eventually, we would see cryptocurrencies that have the benefits of a stable price and at the same time fast enough para like your wife can use it in Europe.
Okay, so because right now, if you go to the banks, it's just a hurdle to send money from the Philippines to Europe or to the US, etc. And then there are restrictions, etc. So if I go to a cryptocurrency or a Bitcoin institution such as your company is Philippine Digital Asset Exchange. If I go there and I tell you, okay, Nichel, uh, I want to transfer X $1,000 to wherever. Kunyari, kumpanya, no? This is just, kunyari, mga kaibigan, sabihin nyo, mayaman ako. Just as an example, would it be faster and simpler to go like, here's $1,000, Nichelle, please send this to wherever in Europe?
Magandang question yan. And the correct answer is it depends. Okay? It depends on the currencies involved. For example, if you are sending $10,000 kunwari, or $100,000 to the US, probably going through the banking system is better because it's big enough na the fees that you will be charged will make it worth it. But if you're
Mm.
sending something like $100, okay, you would pay the bank maybe $15, $20. That's so big relative to the size, no?
Mhm.
So in fact, that was one of the main benefits that people saw, which made Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies popular for micro remittances.
Okay, okay. So we got a good answer there. So micro remittances, go to crypto, go to Bitcoin, etc. Now, Nichelle, can you please explain what this cryptocurrency is? Because you're correct. Bitcoin did not take off correctly or quickly because of misconceptions. A lot of people thought it was just play money or people playing games with money. Now, with cryptocurrency, I think the negative factor on cryptocurrency are all the scams and phishing
Mhm.
scams and dark web transfers. What's this cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so I mentioned na Bitcoin was the first invention of its kind, no.
Mm.
Since then there were other inventions, right? So I think the most important invention we're talking about here is the technology behind Bitcoin, which is called the blockchain technology. And through blockchain technology, a lot of other companies have created new currencies, no, other kinds of currencies.
What is
With
blockchain technology?
Okay, the best way to explain blockchain technology is to compare it to the internet today. Okay, today we all use the web, right? For sure, especially in
Mm,
pandemic. The way the internet works is computers upload data and then computers download data.
mm,
And then, depende na yun kung anong access meron ka or if you have the username or password, you can receive the data that you need. For example, your email or your YouTube video and the like. Now, the way blockchain technology is different from the internet is that you can actually create those rules on the protocol itself. Meaning you don't have you can create programs that can no longer be uh, changed, modified, or somehow impaired by any third party. Okay, so blockchain technology is a change, no, or an innovation on the same layer as the internet. Okay, so now mahirap siyang maintindihan because we don't feel it, right?
mm.
A lot of people today don't know what the internet protocol is, or
Mm.
all HTTP. People don't know that, but we use all the apps that rely on the
Okay.
internet. So parang
Oh,
ganyan din yung blockchain technology.
okay. Now, yung cryptocurrency itself, ano ba yan? Pera ba yan? Or is that just a general term?
Okay. You know, it's so hard to ano no to call cryptocurrency new money or
Mhm.
investment, simply because it's something so new na we don't have very clear distinctions yet what it can do. Okay, I'll tell you what it's not, Cito. I'll tell you what
Mm.
it's not. It's not a share in a company. Okay, so if people are buying crypto because they want to make money, well, I'm not saying that you cannot make money, no, because umaakyat talaga yung price ng cryptocurrency. But at the
Mhm.
same time, it is not like Jollibee stock, where there is a massive company behind Jollibee that's working every day, no, to
Mhm.
create value for the shareholders. So crypto is not like that. Okay.
Okay.
Um. Yes.
Okay,
And
now,
crypto. Yeah.
sorry, Nichel, no? There's a call here or a message here. If I send $1,000 abroad through my bank, they want to know what it is for, as well as proof to avoid suspicion of money laundering. How do cryptocurrencies avoid being used by crooks, as it is basically anonymous?
Right. This is a great question, Cito, because money laundering has always been the biggest risk, no, and the biggest, I guess, the one thing that governments around the world watch out for. And just like with cash, where you can give 1,000 pesos physically to a crook. Um,
Mhm.
Safeguards have to exist for Bitcoin to not be used in such means. And when I say safeguards, I mean rules, right? So
Mhm.
it's only over the past 5 years that governments around the world have started to regulate Bitcoin. So today, I'll give you a very good example. Today, crypto wallets for some Russian entities were placed on the sanctions list. What that means is exchanges around the world now, today, no, cannot accept or convert cryptocurrencies coming from these Russian sanctioned institutions, which is very powerful because dati walang rules eh. Pero
Mhm.
now, may rules na rin on the same level as financial institutions.
Okay, now, Joe Biden recently, actually, as last 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken, announced that they are considering other options of
Mm.
currency, like cryptocurrency. Now, is that going to cause a mad rush of people investing in cryptocurrency? And what advice would you give people once this thing becomes popular again? Because it seems that new forms of currencies are the mode or the thought nowadays.
Well, every time established institutions begin to use cryptocurrency, it adds to the network effect, right? Like
Mhm.
if you have money that nobody uses, then that money is essentially worthless, right? So while I guess there's still a lot that needs to be clarified, no, with regards to the plans of the US. Um, every time there's any sort of adoption, it's good for the industry. Now, does it mean I should go and buy Bitcoin today? Not necessarily, no, because the price of Bitcoin behaves right now, no, medyo independently from the price of other currencies. So I would really strongly.
What does it
Mhm.
respond to? Because dollars, euros, they respond to inflation and to gold standards. What about crypto and Bitcoin?
Mhm. You know, not so right now uh when we think about when we think about stocks, kunwari, we bucket them all as stocks. And
Mm.
that's okay because every share of stock has a company behind it. So they're the
Yeah.
same. But when you say crypto, it's so hard to bucket all of them in one category in a crypto because something like Bitcoin behaves like gold,
Mhm.
in that it's scarce, it's traded everywhere, and if you want to escape local currency risks, for example, you can buy Bitcoin as a hedge. Okay,
Mhm.
but Ethereum, it behaves differently. Dogecoin behaves differently as well. So it's very difficult to bucket them into one category and say okay, trend blah 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 based on these factors. You really have to understand what the currency does or what the cryptocurrency does in order to make a good assessment whether it's something you should buy or not.
So something that we really, really need to study and consult with establishments or companies
Mm.
like PDAX. So well, at least I can say I know a little today after talking to you, and I thank you, Nichel, for giving us this short lecture or introduction to Bitcoin and to cryptocurrency. I'm sure that we didn't even make a small ripple in the on the pond, but at least we tried. So maybe in the future you can continue sending us updates or joining us in future programs for the continued education and learning about bitcoins and cryptocurrency. Thank you very much, Nichelle.
Thank you very much, Tito. Have a good morning.
You too, and have a happy weekend. Okay, that's Nichel Gaba, founder and CEO of Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, teaching us about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And finally, let's go to the week's blessing, which comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 26. For God gives wisdom and knowledge and joy to a man who is good in his sight. But to the sinner, he gives the work of gathering and collecting that he may give to him who is good before God. And that's today's agenda. We thank you for joining us this week, and we hope you will continue to join us. And please do pray for us also so that we can serve you and serve the Lord with excellence and with honor. God bless. Have a happy weekend. Keep it here on One News PH.